I really need to get some stickers and some mugs made with a design that says stop electing stupid people to high office. I hope that I am one of hopefully more than a few who use this phrase and talk about this concept a lot because it is important. And we are in a tightest spot we've been in many, many generations in this country, with Donald Trump being the dipshittiest dipshit who ever dipshitted. He is just a moron who doesn't understand the basics of American jurisprudence because he believes himself to be a king. He believes himself to be some kind of a dictator type that answers to no one, who isn't constrained by the Constitution or any other document or any other set of concepts. He himself is the ruler of the country. The country's property is his property. Museums, he's wanting to give swords that don't belong to him to foreign leaders, monarchs, kings, his fellow kings. He is just an absolute vile character in the history of our country. He's also very, very, very stupid. Yesterday in his Antifa little brunch that he had or whatever, he's asked a question by a journalist who is absolutely a friendly person. You can tell by the language they use, asking about the potential of suspending habeas corpus, which is the concept of you have to have proof. It is just about due process. Let me read to you the actual definition from Merriam-Webster. Any of several common law writs issued to bring a party before a court or judge. The right of a prisoner or detainee to obtain a writ of habeas corpus as protection against illegal imprisonment. And then down here, it gives a little explanation. The literal meaning of habeas corpus is you should have the body. That is, the judge or court should and must have any person who is being detained brought forward so that the legality of the person's detention can be assessed. Show us the proof. Show us the evidence. You can't just detain someone, arrest someone with no evidence of a crime, which seems to be Donald Trump's whole thing this second term. And he was asked about the suspension of habeas corpus. And there's a number of different things in this very brief clip that are just alarming. One, less important, his hair is just giving up the ghost. It is just a nightmare up there. It is more thinning and sparse. It's like a dystopian movie where they're trying to go grow crops and it's just not working out. Everybody's dying of starvation because nothing will grow. That's what's going up on top of his dome. That's less important. The more important issue is he thinks the guy is talking about a person named habeas corpus. And he gets so frustrated at not knowing the answer. Watch what happens. He's like, I'll let Kristi Noem answer that, because he doesn't know. And he throws to someone who also doesn't know. She might be more of a moron than Donald Trump. All of this doesn't portend good things for the United States, for a system of jurisprudence. Having the president of the United States, not know the restrictions that are placed upon him by our system of government, not knowing the basics. It's rough. Watch this, and then we're going to move on. And spoiler alert, it only gets more bleak.
Please.
Thank you, sir. I also have two questions for you, if I may. Have you given any more thought to possibly suspending habeas corpus to not only deal with these insurrectionists across the nation, but also to continue rapidly deporting illegal aliens?
Yeah, is suspending who?
Habeas corpus, sir.
Oh, I don't know. I'd rather leave that to Kristi. What do you think?
No, sir, I haven't been a part of any discussions on that.
All right, go ahead.
How about that hair, huh? Who? Oh, I thought it was a person. And then he throws it to Kristi Noem, who obviously had no clue. I have not heard of those descriptions or those discussions. Oh, is that right? Because you're such an expert on habeas corpus? Because we remember, Kristi Noem, we remember this level of questioning, this very line of questioning that took place during your confirmation hearing with Senator Hassan asked about habeas corpus. And you thought it was the president's right to remove immigrants from the country. We don't forget, and either does video record.
So, Secretary Noem, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
President Lincoln used it.
Excuse me. Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people. If not for that protection, the government could simply arrest people, including American citizens, and hold them indefinitely for no reason. Habeas corpus is the foundational right that separates free societies like America from police states like North Korea. As a senator from the live free or die state, this matters a lot to me and my constituents and to all Americans. So, Secretary Noem, do you support the core protection that habeas corpus provides, that the government must provide a public reason in order to detain and imprison someone?
Yeah, I support habeas corpus. I also recognize that the President of the United States has the authority under the Constitution to decide if it should be suspended or not.
It has never
Let us be clear, though,
it has never been done. It has never been done without approval of Congress. Even Abraham Lincoln got retroactive approval from Congress.
That's incorrect. You, madame, are wrong. And you were confirmed by the Republican Senate to be the Homeland Security chief. Now, the reason this is very important is that these two dum-dums might not know. These two idiots have no clue what they're doing. They are just performative assholes for the camera. But Stephen Miller, the shadow president of the United States, does know. In fact, he discussed these discussions of suspension of habeas corpus, suspension of the requirement to provide evidence of a crime if you're going to arrest someone. He was asked about this back in May, and this is what the shadow president of the United States had to say.
Hold on, there's a question back there first.
Wait, Pundit, I have two quick questions. First, President Trump has talked about potentially suspending habeas corpus to take care of the illegal immigration problem. When could we see that happen, do you think?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article III courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article III courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example. Are you familiar with the term temporary protected status, or TPS, right? So by statute, the courts are stripped of jurisdiction from overruling a presidential determination or a secretarial determination on TPS when the Secretary of Homeland Security makes that determination. So when Secretary Noem terminated TPS for the illegals that Biden flew into the country, when courts stepped in, they were violating explicit language that Congress had enacted, saying they have no jurisdiction. So it's not just the courts aren't just at war with the executive branch, the courts are at war, these radical rogue judges, with the legislative branch as well, too. So all of that will inform the choices the president ultimately makes, yes.
Mr. Miller.
So they can act like they don't know as much as they like. Donald Trump can act like he thought it was a person, and Kristi Noem can, I've never heard those discussions. But the shadow president himself has said this is something they're talking about. This is something they're contemplating. Stop electing stupid people, first of all. But also, we need to put a more stringent code in place, a set of rules and strictures in place to prevent unconfirmed. The Congress needs to play a greater role in who they see fit to allow to run the executive branch of the government. Just one more check of many checks in the checks and balance system that we have. Someone as vile and sinister as Stephen Miller has no business being in our government. Certainly not running the Department of Justice that it seems he does, not running the Homeland Security Department as it seems he does, not running the Department of State as it seems he does. All of those other leaders are actually subordinate to him. As he spills the tea, or whatever the saying is, as he gives us the actual details about their inner machinations about suspending habeas corpus. What do you think? I would appreciate your feedback here. Let's talk about it in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it. If it's on Facebook, make sure you're liked and followed that page there, Dollemore Daily. And if it's on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed for free. Click the subscribe button. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Please, my only ask at the end of this is stop electing stupid people to high office. We have the midterms coming up, and it is up to all of us to pick good and decent people with a heart of servant leadership to serve the constituency, to serve the country, and the best interest of the inhabitants here. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.